Greetings, everybody, to this intense and horrific episode of the podcast. Today we are discussing...
Dude, talk normal.
Thanks, Jockula.
Jeez! Come on, I
I
want to
am
be
the
Dracula.
host with the most. Dr. Wolfenstein.
Welcome to the CBS podcast.
Blah, blah.
Count Chocula. What's
I am-
more serious?
I am the Count from Sesame Street.
I don't drink wine.
Why don't we count?
Oh, an angry beast.
Creatures of the night. Hear them howl at the moonlight. Anyway.
No. Welcome, everybody, to this episode of the Comic Book Society podcast. My name is Josh Williamson, and I'm your host, and...
The host with the mostest.
The host with the most, Dr. Wolfenstein.
I'm the host from Transylvania. Sitting...
Transylvania. Get it right.
Transylvania.
Transylvania.
Nerd.
Intellectual.
I'm from the Nightmares. Welcome.
Yay! Okay, so goodbye, everybody.
I'm from South
Starting off
Texas.
strong, huh?
I'm from South Texas, the scariest place in the world.
Sitting to my immediate right is Eva Long.
Hello. Hello.
Even long you forever.
Next to her is Sam Merrill.
Hello.
And next to her is Bree Kinsey.
Telling her, do you want my, social security number, mother's maiden name, stuff like that.
Hello.
Ladies, I'm Pandora. Welcome. We're about to open my box and you're going to love it.
Oh, God, no, don't say it like that.
And then Jose
I'm
is...
strangely aroused right now.
I'm just
Jose,
that good.
Jose is joining us from beyond the grave.
No. That's no.
I'll get better, I promise.
Jeez.
I am from a dimension where there's no sound nor space.
Why are you talking?
Can anyone hear you scream?
No. No one can hear me scream.
Okay, then Jose is
Not
in space.
even I can. Yeah, in space.
Jose
no one can scream.
in space.
In space, no one can hear your ice cream.
Ice cream. Okay, so today is Horror Week, so we have real interesting topics.
So
which-
excited.
But first, we got to talk about our lovely new theme song
Oh yeah, the theme
that you
song.
just heard at the beginning of this podcast, done by
My
Jose's.
chunky voice, who is a local Austin voice actor / music engineer / voiceover recorder.
With
if
a
you
heart
need
of gold.
if you need anything voice recording wise, go get Chunky Voice. He's at Twitter. I think his Twitter handle is Chunky Voice. He's got a YouTube channel by Chunky Voice, and his name is Daniel Martinez. Go check him out. He is pretty damn good at what he does.
So,
I know, I really
round
like
of
his
applause
voice
for our
right now.
new theme song, which he did. So,
Oh
I
my
don't
god,
clap.
it's like we're professionals.
I snap.
This is
all right.
Club
This
No
is
Guys.
one of those bars. So,
Yeah,
let's get on with our topics.
so today we have today in horror we have different
In what?
horror.
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 Yeah, we were having that discussion
Horrors?
last
I
week.
said Hodor last
Tom
time.
Baker.
Hodor?
Hodor.
Yeah,
You gotta say it like
We're
We
having
Tom
that
need
Baker.
John
discussion.
Carpenter, guys.
I'm not allowed to say
This isn't
horror.
a real horror.
Oh.
I'm not allowed to say horror because it sounds like I'm saying
John
horse.
Carpenter, come on.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we have different subgenres: gore, suspense, thriller, anything else we can think of that I wasn't able to think of. Popular horror movies or horror franchises, and most importantly, the rules.
The rules of horror.
Mm-hmm.
What
Don't
you
have sex.
What you can and
Never
can't
have
do.
sex. in
Wait,
a
wait,
horror
sex if you
movie.
wanna
I would
have-
say, the rules have changed, though. Slowly.
A little bit.
A little bit.
But
We
we'll
want
get
to do
into
the
that.
classic rules or modern rules?
We'll compare both.
Okay. So those are our topics for this podcast. So, anyone want to start with different subgenres?
Oh,
Well, we can talk about we can go in order. The gore.
Oh, actually, this one, just like Jose did with the anime one, I think I'm going to have to sit this one out for a good part because I am not a horror movie fan. I know.
Okay, Bree, take it away.
I got freaked out just watching Toxic Avenger the other day.
Oh,
So.
really?
Did we talk about last time?
I'm sorry.
On YouTube.
Did we talk about last time what was our first horror movies and how old were we?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
I was gonna look.
Yeah.
I didn't
Okay.
watch it. I fell asleep.
Yeah. So.
So, I mean, who here is, big horror movie fans?
Me?
Okay, well, raising your hand really doesn't help.
I'm raising my hand, guys.
Okay.
Raise your
Bree-
hand with
Bree and
me.
Josh.
So me and Bree are
and not
big
Jose.
horror.
Jose loves it too. He's like, like
He just won't raise his hand.
He's a John Carpenter in our group.
Because I'm on radio, so I don't have to like raise my hand.
We'll pretend we have a camera somewhere
But,
in the room.
Yeah, like before I joined the military, Blockbuster knew me real well, and
Really?
like I would go in there every week, and they would be like, "What horror movie are you getting today?" I was like, "Pumpkinhead 4."
Oh my god, those movies.
So like that's what I did. Like the entire summer before I joined, I watched nothing but Digimon and horror movies.
Yeah, like I mean,
I can't even remember the last time I went to a Blockbuster.
I can't
old
really,
now.
I know.
I can't really explain how much I love horror movies, because when I was growing up, I hated them.
Mhm.
I was forced to watch horror movies. I
Really?
was afraid of
your
the
life.
monsters, of the Halloween creatures. I was afraid of Halloween stores because I was a scaredy cat. But horror movies were still so interesting for me. I think it's a craft that it's been demeaning on its impacts ever since the 80s, but it's still an important part of my life because it made me be who I am right now. And it helped me a lot. So horror has a very important part in my heart, in my life in general.
Aw.
Yeah, so Bree, you want to start?
Who am I starting?
Okay, so
What's
you're
your-
gonna start with your.
Start with
Oh God. I
your
hate gore.
favorite gory movie, I guess.
Let's just describe what gore is.
Gore
because-
is when
Gore is when your intestines are thrown around like party favors.
that's pretty much it.
Because-
Someone with
So
such a
think
smile that
Saw.
scares me.
Because
Think
there's some.
Saw.
there's
No,
a-
think more like Cabin Fever, Host or Hostel. Hostel, I think,
Yeah,
was like
Hostel.
the first really
Hostel.
gory movie that came out.
Adam Chaplin, because the gore as a genre, I heard that term being thrown around too much, because gore, what really is just the over exaggeration and over
Use of body intestinal.
yeah,
parts.
like use of blood in a movie for style effects or style a side of stylistic choice. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Gore, calling a film like let's say Nightmare on Elm Street 1, calling it a gore film because Johnny Depp gets turned into a blood slushy.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was in that.
That is gore, but it's not
a
part of
gore
the
movie.
gore like genre.
Movie genre.
The gore genre is usually again, this term is also thrown around too much when I don't agree with it. It's torture porn. It's people that like seeing other people getting
Torture
mangled,
I've never even
cut
heard
up,
that.
bleed out, or get
Yeah.
abused in several ways. And
For me, it's like when it's overused, it's just not appealing. It makes me feel like the story's weak.
it's a filler in my opinion. When you, as a writer, sometimes you want to shock your audience and you want to abuse of.
You want to make them throw up right there. In
Yeah,
the
you want
theater.
to abuse of your stance as a horror writer, and you want to be like, yes, I want to leave my mark, but
They
it
think
also
shocks
feels
and
You want to
awes.
make them lose their appetite.
it also feels as if you were really really weak of a writer because all you come up with was this very creative way to kill somebody, but there's not a real plot
So-
there.
The only gore movie I think I've ever seen would have to be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Is that actually
No,
considered?
not at all.
No.
The
No,
Texas
really.
Chainsaw Massacre,
Is a slasher
believe it or
movie?
not, has no blood in it.
Really?
The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre
really does.
has no. I think there's only 2 on-screen deaths in that movie. For being called a massacre, only 4 people die, and the chainsaw is not used that much. What makes that
And how
movie?
many movies have there been so far?
5.
Five.
5 or 6. What makes Texas Chainsaw 7? What makes Texas Chainsaw Massacre a horror movie or impactful? It's because it's the first slasher movie.
No.
People like to attribute
Yeah, 'cause there's a
Halloween as the first slasher movie.
Yeah, because like some people call slashers gores,
They're
which
not.
aren't
They
aren't
really
because
are.
like
Slasher movies more like
But-
cat and mouse with a knife.
Yeah,
Yeah,
slasher.
but-
The
Like
slasher
Scream.
genre.
what about like The Devil's Reject? I heard
That
about
is
one.
that is a
was-
character piece. That movie
See,
is
That's
That
why-
I think is borderline gore though.
it's got a lot. Actually, it's got that gore side of things, which you are. What's the word that I'm trying to look for? It's fantasizing violence and making it appealing. You use the violent acts in that movie as a character device. You use those as a way to enforce your characters for you to not like characters. It's used as a plot device with Devil's Rejects. Devil's Rejects is more of a weirdly to say, drama comedy, because it's not a horror movie. It's not a movie about monsters killing people. It's about a movie. It's a movie about three criminals that are running away from the law, and it's about this story is trying. What it's trying to tell us is the story of how these three horrible people can be somewhat likable when you think about it, because they're not running away from another killer. They're not running away from this huge threat or this monster. They're running away from the cops, and the cops are the bad guys. So it plays with your perspective, because these are truly awful people.
And we are not saying cops are bad guys, or at least not all of them.
We're just talking about a movie,
Yeah,
guys.
we're just talking about Devil's Rejects, because these characters are truly awful.
Yeah.
But Sid Haig, Bill Moseley's, and Sherry Moon Zombie's performance and Rob Zombie's writing made those characters really, really likable.
Yeah.
Especially Bill Moseley, in my opinion.
Well,
One of the
I
top
mean,
slashers.
like I said, I
feel
don't know
like
the
the
difference
war
between
would be
them, so
something to
like,
brought up.
Oh, you
when
mean
it-
the different genres? Or?
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Okay,
all of them
Okay,
to
well,
me
let's
is categorized as
make it
gore.
simple. Okay, gore basically kind of self-describes. It's just a lot of
Blood.
It's
blood,
like when you slice your
intestinal
wrist
torture.
and it's like a river comes out.
Okay.
yeah. You see like a lot of intestinal stuff like that. People getting their fingernails cut off and stuff. That's
Yeah,
you know what? I can handle someone's intestines coming out.
Mhm.
The fingernails getting popped off is what gets me.
I'm not a fingernail guy, and it gets me when that happens.
Give me another one. Thriller. That one is very like. Would you
Like
say
the ward. Like the
would you
ward
say
is a
sus-
psychological
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the-
thriller, suspense.
Yeah, would
could
you say
probably be-
thriller and suspense are about the
they're-
same?
Yeah, they're about the same.
Kinda. Well,
Ooh, think of this.
Suspense is like.
you gotta
think
have both
think
to make
of
a movie.
think
Okay, I'll
of
do
The
it this way.
Shining.
Let me do it this way. Suspense is a lot more psychological, and you're like, it's basically like you're like, what's gonna happen? Is anything gonna happen? You don't know what's gonna happen. With thriller, it's a lot more adrenaline
Yeah.
based, you know. So
Yeah, you're in the right spot, but it all depends on the script that you're working on, and
What
it all
about
depends
like
on the
the
movie.
Evil Dead? What is that?
Evil Dead's just I would
Which
consider
one?
it a gore.
Yeah,
all
exactly.
of them.
Which one?
I would okay.
Well, I
'cause-
would say Evil Dead 1.
Okay, Evil Dead 1 is a straight up horror movie. It's
that's the
not
one
a,
in the forest, right?
all of them take place in the forest.
I'm
They're from Army
thinking.
of
Okay,
Darkness.
wait. What am I thinking of?
What are you
The
talking-
one, what's
The
the
one
guy?
with the chainsaw?
Yeah, what's that one? They're both Evil Dead, right?
They're okay.
Because I always get those mixed up in my head. Because they're both called Evil Dead, but they're both very different.
Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2, both by Sam Raimi and both with Bruce Campbell as Ash. Evil Dead 2 is a remake of Evil Dead 1. Evil Dead 1 has no chainsaw on the arm. Evil Dead 2 does. Evil Dead
What about
2.
the Evil Dead that came out a couple
Evil
years
Dead.
ago?
Evil Dead.
It's I think it's a
The
reboot of
remake,
Yeah.
well, the
first one.
2013 movie. The 2013 movie is not a remake; it's a sequel to Evil Dead.
Really?
Evil Dead. I call it the Fede Alvarez Evil Dead, or Evil Dead redo, I guess, because I don't like just calling it the Evil Dead. That movie is a sequel to the original Evil Dead, because the continuity with the Evil Dead movies is all over the place. The Evil Dead 1 happens and it ends with spoilers, the demon jumping at Ash. Evil Dead 2, the first 15 minutes is, let's recap what happened on Evil Dead 1 with completely different characters and completely different backstory. But after the 15-minute mark, it cuts to that one shot from the end of Evil Dead 1 and it picks up from there.
Okay.
Because in Evil Dead 2, they don't have the Dead by Dawn, they don't have it's only 2 people who go to the cabin. It's Ash and his girlfriend, while in Evil Dead 1 it was 5 people that go to the
That
cabin.
movie, like, that was one of my first horror movies I ever saw. It made me scared of number 2 pencils on the ground for a long
Yeah,
time.
like that
I
pencil
was like,
thing.
ugh.
And Army of Darkness does the same thing. The first 10 minutes of Army of Darkness completely rewrite whatever happened in Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2, and it turns into a fantasy movie, and it ends with him going back to the real world and to his job. So the continuity on Evil Dead is very, very, like,
Tricky?
it's stupid. I don't know why Sam did that, probably because he had more money to work with, but that's what happened with Evil Dead. And the remake, well, the sequel, the modern Evil Dead, it doesn't, there's a couple of hints here and there. There's a scene where Mia, the main character, she's sitting down on this abandoned car. That's the car that Ash had in the first Evil Dead. That's the classic Sam Raimi car. It's the Oldsmobile, the yellow Oldsmobile. It's in all of his movies. But it has the one of the front lights. It's bashed, and it's the same light that got bashed in Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2.
It's one of those where it's like, why can't you just call it something else so it's not as confusing?
It's because audiences want something new. And spoilers, this is going to go into major spoiler territory. Evil Dead, the remake, ends with Mia walking away from the cabin. She's alive.
Mm-hmm.
Credits pass by, and there's an end credit scene with Bruce Campbell as Ash. He just looks at the camera and says, "Groovy." So, this is a direct sequel to one of the Evil Dead movies. We don't know which one. We don't know how, but it's a sequel. And with the announcement that Sam Raimi and Ted Raimi, they're working on an Evil Dead TV show with Bruce Campbell as Ash, it's gonna get things way more confusing because we don't know what's happening. I don't know how's that gonna fit in continuity. I don't understand, but there's gonna be a crossover between franchises with the new characters and the old characters. There's gonna be an Army of Darkness 2 that they've been promised since like '99. There's a lot on the Evil Dead plate, and if you're a fan of Deadites and Evil Dead, I mean, this is the kind of best time to live it because it's awesome. But I don't know if I can trust Sam on this one. Anyway, Evil Dead, it's an independent horror movie because that's something we're going to talk about later on in this episode about the independent horror. But
another episode.
In another episode, okay. I like that we defined thrillers and suspense as two different things because they completely are.
Movies.
And there's slasher movies.
I was about to say, what was the question we had before?
I had a movie.
When I hear slasher, I always think
Like
of
Scream,
or at least the first
What about
two.
Halloween's a slasher movie.
Okay.
Like I said, it's cat and mouse with knives.
Mhm.
That's all it is. That's what I think a slasher movie is.
Halloween is widely considered to be the first slasher movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
Freddy Krueger
I don't-
is the king of slasher.
That's debatable. I don't think because Halloween did modernize the slasher genre. Halloween did bring the slasher genre to the mainstream. But if I have to pick a movie that is the beginning of the slasher boom, is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's a Round Rock's own Texas Chainsaw Massacre because that was shot like 10 minutes away from my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was shot over there, like a couple streets away.
Yep.
Yeah,
I heard about that one.
Tobe Hooper's Texas Chainsaw. That is the basic prototype or the basic plot line for a slasher movie. Kids go somewhere that they're not supposed to go to. There's this big guy with a weapon of some sorts, an unconventional weapon. He hunts them down and starts taking them one by one. That is a slasher movie.
Do you believe in the secret message that slasher movies were really made for, like, towards teens to be like, hey, don't have premarital sex, don't do drugs and stuff like that?
That is Sean S. Cunningham who did Friday the 13th. He said that is something really relatable in a teen's life. You always have that moment where you're like, oh, my parents didn't tell me to go there, but I will go because I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go to the party. I'm gonna go with my girlfriend. I'm gonna go drink some like booze, whatever. And you're already on an element of mystery and an element of complete anarchy, I guess, because you're going against what somebody that knows what's good for you told you not to do, and you're doing it. So when you go on that area, you are supposed to be ready for anything that can happen. And when that anything is a serial killer, things are gonna go down real quick.
Somebody's dead.
Somebody's gonna die.
Yeah.
So it's what Sean Cunningham said is that it was a very, very relatable thing for a teenager.
And with suspense or thriller, I think my favorite suspense or thriller movie would have to be The Shining, because that really is a
That's a psychological
mind
thriller.
fuck.
Do you want to come
Big time.
So it's the word.
Red rum.
I don't like The Word. I think it's John Carpenter's worst movie. That and like Ghost from Mars.
What was it?
I was really confused when I first watched it, and then I'm like, that last little ghost did not make any sense on how it could also be her. That is where they screwed up.
Yeah,
I didn't even know there were two movies until I
That
looked
was so
The Shining
awful.
up.
No, we're talking about the Word.
Oh, The Word?
The Word,
Oh.
yeah.
The word.
Sorry.
It was
What
really
word?
the thought of
What's
it
the word?
was It was good. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was a good movie, but with that whole, well, look, I'm a ghost,
Yeah.
and but it's also yourself. It's kind of like how.
How can that
I mean, I know
happen?
you're psycho, but you can't. It wasn't done right.
Yeah,
And
it didn't apply.
With The
no.
Shining, The Shining is it's
Psychological.
no, that's not what I'm trying to get at. The Shining is proof that Stanley Kubrick was insane. The Shining was an experiment in my opinion. I think The Shining is
Yeah.
a social experiment. 50 takes a day, not sleeping any night. He would torment Shelley Duvall every night, knocking at her window to make her creeped out and be afraid. He would like physically abuse of Jack Nicholson, so he would get into the character of Jack Torrance. The filming of The Shining is one of the craziest, most insane tales that has ever happened related to film. I'm surprised he wasn't thrown in jail because of what he did. But another thing that makes The Shining so interesting is how subtle it is with everything it does. If you noticed, the Overlook Hotel makes no sense architecturally wise.
Yeah.
There are hallways that lead nowhere. There are hallways under stairwells. There are apartment rooms, like some of the hotel rooms, that lead to a window. There are rooms there's doors where there shouldn't be a wall. There's a maze that there's no space for a maze in the backyard they had. The point of this is that they wanted to freak audiences out that were paying attention to the background design. Because if you notice, that Steadicam shot with what's the name of the kid? Donnie?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Donnie isn't here, Mr. Torrance.
Yeah.
Yeah, Donnie. On
was
this
a
little
one-shot.
trikey, that one shot, that Steadicam thing. If you pay attention to that whole layout, that whole him moving around, it makes no sense to where the lobby is, to where the stairs at, to where the room is at, where's room 247. It makes no sense.
Especially when you look at the outside, when they're trying to do all these outside shots. I know this because I actually took a class on this, that the building architecturally would not have made any sense with what's inside because the space inside is way too big for what it looks like on the outside.
It's bigger
So
on the
it-
it's bigger on the inside.
It's
It's a
bigger on the-
TARDIS building.
it would be a mansion. Literally, it would have to be a mansion in order to have all those rooms
And
the way they are.
it's an insane movie. The Shining is a nice example of suspense and horror. Too bad Stephen King didn't like it. He hates that movie.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because
He
it's
hates-
nothing like
Didn't
the
he
book.
do that one?
Yeah.
No, he wrote it, but Stanley Kubrick directed and he wrote the screenplay.
Yeah.
Because Stephen
Okay,
King.
yeah.
Stephen King remade the Shining for TV back in the 90s, and it sucks. Because the book, it's not that good. But the movie, the Stanley Kubrick version is pretty far out. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then again, Stephen King does have a giant grudge against Stanley Kubrick, not only for The Shining, but for Clockwork Orange too. Not the second, but I'm just
No, I
saying.
was gonna say
Clockwork Orange also.
Stephen King did Clockwork Orange.
No, he has a big grudge against Kubrick because Clockwork Orange's original screenplay got scrapped like 3 days into filming.
Well, I mean that's if you're gonna work with Kubrick, you should expect that.
Yeah. So I'm like, wow, that sucks.
Okay, so do you think we discussed all the subgenres?
Oh, creature features.
Oh, yeah, that's
Monsters.
Tremors.
Those are my
favorite.
favorite. Creature features are my favorite. Would you consider it? Okay, we talked about this earlier. Would the first Alien be a thriller or a creature feature?
The first Alien's a sci-fi horror.
Yeah.
It's a psychological horror too, because it's not about the alien itself, but it's about the
about
relationship
Ripley.
between Ripley and the whole crew, like Dallas and stuff. Because
Love Ripley.
it's all about it's when you think about Alien, the way Ridley Scott made that, it's not about the monster that's trying to get you. It's about how that's splitting you and your crew apart, and how one of you is not who you think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're
We're all waiting on Brian. She's like, I I thought you were gonna be more input on this.
I'm waiting to throw in some human centipede shit into this.
Okay.
You cannot go
Okay.
anywhere without the human centipede.
I know. I saw
see
the
the
cover.
trailer alone made me
I
want to
saw
vomit.
the cover of the movie,
I
and
saw,
I just
like-
didn't want to see
I
it.
saw like the
yeah.
person pressed up against the green glass, and I'm like, this is gonna be some good shit. And what was it? All I can say was wow.
If we
Man
get
with
the
1,000
human
eyes.
centipede,
What about that one?
the Beast of 1,000 Eyes, that's such a weird movie.
Yeah.
There's one called The Beast with 1,000,000 Eyes. That's from
Yeah.
1955.
Oh yeah, that I've seen that one, but
There's gotta be a
Man
sequel.
with 1,000 eyes.
Really-
They literally put thousands of eyes
That's
in his
awesome.
body,
I really
and they all move.
am in-
So
I'm in so much love with the human centipede. I have seen the first one over 5 times, and I have seen the second one twice. The second one, I do like how they did that in black and white, and how they did the story.
If I'm going to talk about the human centipede, I think the human centipede gets too much hype. I think the human centipede is something that hit the right, that aired in the right moment. It was released at the right time. Because if this movie had come out in the 80s,
Would not have.
No.
no, not because we had stuff like that before. It was, you want to see people getting like sewn together and poop in their mouths? Well, go watch Galaxy of Terror.
Or
There's
Silence of the Lambs.
There's worm
Yeah.
rape
Yeah.
there. Worm rape's insane. So, my thing with Human Centipede is that it gets too much credit for what it really is. I don't really like the first one. I find it entertaining just because of the doctor character.
Oh my God,
I
he's
thought he was
gorgeous.
fantastic. He was a fantastic character. The actor did it. I don't know his name, but it was
I
amazing.
love him.
Human Centipede 2, I thought it was boring. That movie for me is
But that's what most sequels are.
I mean,
you know?
the first time I had saw it, I was into it because I'm like, oh, what's happening? Why is this happening? But the fact that they did it in black and white, I guess they're
I like
trying
the
to.
black and white, yeah, but it's also kind of cheap.
But I don't like the fact that they brought the first movie into the second movie
It's
as a
meta.
movie.
Yeah, it's a meta movie, which you
Don't like
shouldn't
that.
do. I want to talk about meta right now because
What is meta?
I'll explain it after I'm done with the Centipede 2 because I think Human Centipede 2 was an excuse of a movie. It's, hey, we did really good with the first one, let's make a second one, let's make more money with it. And let's just amp up the gross and turn down the story. It's fat guy that's insane, he masturbates with sandpaper, he gets 20 people and makes them into a centipede.
He has this weird obsession with centipedes because
Yeah.
he has a pet.
End of the movie. Like it's just a cash grab, and I don't know how to feel about the third one.
Wait, what?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
There's a
gore
third
can
one?
easily ruin a movie.
Yeah, it's
you know?
coming out like
it's coming
the
out.
end of the year. If I'm
Oh, well,
right.
I'm gonna watch it just so I can see what they
Yeah,
did with
because I
it.
already watched the other two, so I'm gonna watch
Exactly.
the
It's
third
like Paranormal Activity. That is the worst thing I have ever seen.
one. I beg to differ, actually.
Well, I mean, it's not the worst, but when it comes to scaring you, like the first one, there's only one horror scene, and that's where the chick is getting slammed into the camera. at the end.
I think I don't like any of the Paranormal Activity sequels, not at all. But
Or the spoofs.
I think that
It's
Paranormal
just
Activity,
when you
as
the
cheap as
sequels
it
just-
is,
ugh.
as cheap as it is, because it costs like $50,000, it works. It's a movie that I have to admit it's a clever movie.
It's a found footage.
If you're gonna do a found footage movie, you gotta do it like that because it has a lot of plot holes. Like, why the fuck would you record everything? Because I'm that kind of guy. I would record everything.
I mean, if
And-
my blanket's off me in the middle of the night, my door's open, and I can hear things, I'm recording whatever.
And you're an
it is.
instigator with it. You're like, yes, we're gonna do this. And what makes that movie so much better and ruined by the sequels, it's because when you watch the first one, there's no real reason why they're getting haunted. They just are. And that's what makes that movie special to me.
So
I guess a lot of people complain, so they're like I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh, there's no story, it's just blah blah blah.
Because
they're
it
so
shouldn't,
used to
yeah.
story. They're so used. Oh, you're getting haunted because you made a deal with the devil, which also agitates me because let's just stop making deals with the devil because it's
No, it's
so
so cliche.
overplayed. It's
And the
oh
thing
my
with that,
God.
Why
I
is it
think
gotta
that's
be the
what
devil? Why can't it just be a demon?
well, that's what makes
Behemoth, guys.
that's what
Azrael.
makes the first one so much likable to me because it could happen to anybody. It's two guys that live together, suddenly ghosts, and that's what makes it terrifying. How mundane that is. That at any point in your life, you're sleeping in your bed, and then a stranger can walk in and completely destroy your life in a matter of seconds. That is what's truly terrifying.
I mean, like
Alan,
with Paranormal Activity, it's like, bitch, I'm leaving you. You didn't tell me you had
Alan,
this kind of
Alan
package.
Moore,
Let's go stay in a hotel.
Alan Moore had a quote. Alan Moore said, that he was gonna spend a lot of his time looking for whichever organization that controls the world. Because he's like, yes, there's somebody out there that controls the world. There's somebody out there that knows where the money goes, that knows where the power goes, that has the right to do all of this, that he controls it.
Okay.
He found. Oh, sorry, I wasn't done with.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. So what happens is he comes out and he says, "Hey, I found something much more terrifying than what I expected. Guess who controls the world? Nobody." And that is truly terrifying because you don't have any idea of what's going to happen. Nobody knows what will happen the next day. And that brings everything to a mundane level. That brings everything to a day-to-day basis because you don't know what's going to happen in 5 minutes.
I feel like the paranormal horror movies are the scariest because it's not some killer that you can easily trip or murder because you cannot see it. You don't know where it's coming from. You don't know when it's coming. It can follow you. Some grow attachment.
Then I would, you know, I've only watched a few horror movies, but then again there's all these exorcism movies all over the place. And then when I saw something like Cabin in the Woods, I thought it would be like I thought it would actually be something like, you know, like Cabin Fever or something like that, but no.
Oh my god! God, you know, Cabin in the Woods is one of my favorite.
They put Shaggy in that movie.
I know.
I laughed so hard at that
movie.
movie.
They put Thor in that movie. Come on.
My favorite scene is when Thor's making that big speech. He's like, "We're gonna get out of this alive," and he rams it, bam, hits the thing. I was like, "That was gorgeous."
I love that movie.
So yeah.
Did you notice that the Left 4 Dead zombies are in it?
Yes, I did notice that.
Because there was going to be
when you go through all those rooms, you see all the different ones. You even see the Pan's Labyrinth creature with the eyes for hands.
And then I love Sigourney Weaver being shown at the end.
Yeah. I like how they put a unicorn in it, guys. The unicorn was
the unicorn was crazy.
I loved that.
It was a killer unicorn.
That was such a wow factor. That's why it's one of my top favorite.
It's a good movie. But now that we're talking about Cabin in the Woods, now I can go back to the meta. Meta is whenever you know what you're doing in a film. Let's say you have a slasher movie that knows it's a slasher movie, so it's self-referential. It's like, oh, killer's wearing hockey mask, so whoever's wearing a hockey mask must be the killer. And the characters do that. You said earlier when you think of slasher movies, you think of Scream. I despise that movie.
What?
It
was good for its time.
No, not even.
Oh,
I think Scream is one of the laziest movies ever. You know why? Because it's telling you what you always thought. I never liked that. It's a movie that, hey guys, I'm gonna go get drunk in the garage, and I hope nobody kills me. So she goes into the garage, grabs a beer, and she's like, oh no, it's in like that one horror movie where the girl gets killed in the garage with the beer. Are you the killer? And then she gets murdered. That's not writing.
I have to say what I disliked about it. Okay, when the newer one came out, I was so excited. I'm like, it's gonna be scary. Holy heck! I went into the movie theaters with my parents, and they did like the whole spoof thing in the beginning, and I'm like, I was really hyped up about this movie. And you just ruined my
I don't like any of the Scream movies. Like I said, ooh, this is when he's gonna get up and get us a second time, and he gets up and they shoot him again. That's not creative. And I'm gonna say this as a horror fan, it's kind of shitty to say, and it hurts me. I don't like Wes Craven. I like Nightmare on Elm Street. I like New Nightmare. I am not a big fan of Last House on the Left. I don't like it. I don't like My Soul to Take is a stupid fucking movie. I don't like any of the Scream ones. My Soul to Take's like a 2008 one.
I'm trying to remember because I probably
The California Condor. Is that same with the California Condor? Yeah.
Oh my god! Yes, that was so awful.
Scream
That
was
Condor.
such they saw the success of Halloween and wanted to make something exactly like it, but not exactly like it.
It's Wes Craven.
That's how I perceived it when I first saw
Scream's a pretentious movie because Wes Craven is a pretentious director. Have you seen Last House on the Left?
Yes.
It's the rape movie. The two girls get raped and
I heard that rape scene goes on for like 20 minutes or something. Like
that's I Spit on Your Grave. I Spit on Your Grave is there's actually a horror genre called Rape Revenge.
Yeah.
I Spit on Your Grave is like the most popular of those. Anyway, the last house on the left is, let's say there's a scene, girls are getting raped, right? Mm-hmm. Cuts to cops in a chicken truck eating pie, making fun of the situation. I understand what you were trying to do, Wes Craven. You were trying to put that contrast, that light that at any point, somebody's, let's say we're recording the podcast right now, but somewhere in one point of the world right now, somebody's getting murdered. Mm-hmm. That's what he was trying to say.
He just didn't execute
You don't have to do it like the Three Stooges, man. And it's one of the only instances where I like the remake better than the original.
Okay.
The remake, I think, worked fairly
There
well.
are a few remakes that are better than original, and that's very rare.
Scarface is the best. Scarface is based on another movie, like a 1950s gangster movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't like Scarface because of what they did to Mikey.
Okay, guys, I would have to say the only movie that has ever scared me to the point of, I can't watch this movie more than twice, for the first few times that I had seen it, was The Grudge. That is some freaky shit.
The Sam Raimi produced Grudge? The American one?
I'm talking about the
Japanese one.
Oh,
one.
Ju-on? Yeah, Ju-on's
the
freaky
good
shit.
one.
Oh my god, yes. The Grudge is really dumb because it doesn't, I don't know.
I'm still embarrassed that the freaking sign scared me.
Okay, so I think this is
Okay.
So I think this is starting to actually get into the popular horror movies and horror franchises. So.
Oh, do we want to go around and say what's our faves and everything like that?
We should.
Yeah.
I think we should, like this segment, the popular movies, we should start with that.
Okay, yeah. Alright, so we're done with that topic. And now we move on to our second topic of the day. Popular horror movies and horror franchises.
Hooray!
Don't everyone jump at once.
I'm not saying anything.
What?
My mind has already just turned to mush and died like chatter.
What's your favorite one?
Anyways, so I would have to say my favorite horror movie would be the Nightmare on Elm Street series.
Mm.
Oh my God, Freddy, how I love thee so. He is so beautiful, and the fact that I like how no one has even tried to even mess with him or Freddy vs. Jason.
I was gonna say.
Didn't he get a girlfriend at
I
one point?
really like Freddy vs. Jason.
It was hilarious.
It was so funny.
Run, bitch! My favorite horror movies are the ones where the entire audience gets in on it. Like, I hate it when people are like, I hate people that talk during the movies. If it's a shitty horror movie, you can talk.
Yeah.
If it's Freddy vs. Jason, you can just die.
Everybody just dies whacker.
Freddy's coming back. Don't even try it.
One of my favorite memories is that on prom night came out.
Oh.
So me and my friends on prom night went in our prom dresses after prom to go see prom night.
Oh.
It was amazing because we were sitting there and it was at night and there was only 10 other people in there. Oh, it was amazing. Bitch, you got a knife. You better run. We were yes, this movie just became 10 times more awesome.
I don't like the prom night remake. That's fucking stupid.
How about Carrie?
I'm not even gonna watch the remake.
How many Carries?
There have been 3 Carries.
I've seen the second one.
There's been. Okay, I know Chloe Grace Moretz.
There's 4 Carries actually. 'Cause there's a sequel to the one from the 90s. Yeah.
There was a Carrie too. Oh, there was. I remember because I did a paper on
I was thinking
Carrie.
of Carrie because Sam said prom night.
So you've got Carrie with Chloe Grace Moretz and Julianne Moore, and you've got Sissy Spacek
with what's Mrs. Piper? What's her name? First name? Not Billy Piper.
I can't remember.
Doctor Who. It's Piper Laurie.
Yes.
Piper Laurie as Carrie's mom and Sissy Spacek as Carrietta.
Mm-hmm.
Carrietta.
That's such a cool name.
Yeah.
You shall know her name.
Yeah, and then there has been. Let's see.
Then there's the 90s one that no one gives a shit about.
So Carrie is a classic. So.
Anyways,
Brie, what's your favorite horror movie?
You said
The Nightmare on Elm Street
Street.
series.
But why?
Why? I don't.
You don't need a reason.
It attracts
You don't need a
me.
reason.
It really attracts me because the story itself is just hey, you got this guy, he's going out and killing you. But he's doing it with your nightmares. It brings nightmares to an entirely new level.
It brings your dreams.
It brings your deepest, darkest inner fears that...
It's one
you say, I'm afraid of spiders, but then your nightmares, you're like being drowned and they're crawling inside of your intestines.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where sleep is such a sacred thing that when people mess with the bedroom, like on Paranormal Activity, or in your dreams...
Or the closet.
Anything that has to do with the
the sanctity of your bedroom, the one where, because it's like you're sleeping, that's where you're supposed to feel safe.
Or your children's bedrooms.
What happens here is the real reason why I love the nightmare factor on Nightmare on Elm Street is that I think, if I'm right, it's Wes Craven who said it is, it's a group of characters who they're still kids basically, they're teens, they don't know any better, and they're getting haunted in the place where their parents cannot save them. It's a place where their parents cannot go in there and protect them from this one guy who they conjured, basically. It's their fault, and they cannot save their children. And what makes Freddy so much more interesting is the infinite possibilities he has to take over your life and destroy you. But how nonchalant he is.
He twists your perception.
Yeah, and Freddy, like I said, I didn't like Wes Craven, but I also said that Nightmare is a really damn good franchise.
Oh my god, just Freddy himself as a character. He's so serious, but he also cracks these dark jokes that are just glorious. Oh, how I love them.
Yeah, I love how they compare him to Bugs Bunny. Because that's basically who he is. He's this sarcastic asshole that just wants to win. That's Bugs Bunny for you, because Bugs Bunny's a fucking asshole.
Looking at the makeups from the older ones to the 2010 one, I'm not gonna lie, the 2010 makeup, it kind of shook me away from that Freddy, because I'm like, I'm looking at you, but when I look at you, I'm not seeing Freddy. I'm seeing some weird burnt cat man going, I'm gonna eat your liver.
He does look like a burn victim.
Was that the one where it talks about his past, like what he did when he was alive? Yeah. Okay.
Oh my god, that burn scene. That burn scene. Oh, that was
great.
Glorious.
I remember seeing the trailer for that, and as soon as he removes the jacket and you see the sweater, I was like, oh my god, this is done so well. But then you watch the movie and it's a piece of shit.
Yeah, it
could have been so much better too.
I mean, the blatant sex jokes, walking through blood, talking about a wet dream, eh? And then it's just like, I'm laughing because that's dark, and it's funny.
I do love that bit with when Nancy and the remake, when Nancy wakes up in the school classroom, and Freddy just like, this is the first time we actually see Freddy full on, and the first thing he says is, "You shouldn't fall asleep in class, Nancy," and when that happens, as serious as that was, and as serious as this new Freddy is, and as serious as an actor Dracula Haley is, there was still that Freddy Krueger wittiness and little jokiness, which made him much more memorable.
He's trying to emulate Robert
England.
Yeah,
I don't think
reminds me a lot of the Joker.
Yeah, I don't think he was emulating Robert England. I think he was trying to do something new with the character, which I appreciate.
Trying to twist it up a bit.
Yeah, but what made that movie fail, in my opinion, is how lame the kids were, how lame the characters were, because I know you're here to watch a horror movie to see them killed. That's basically why you're there. You're not there to see Nancy beat Freddy. You're there to see Freddy kill everyone else.
You're rooting for the bad guy.
But you can't make them paper cutouts. You can't make them unemotional, stupid little kids. I have to care for them, because when they die, it's going to be so much more, the satisfaction will be so much more. They're dead and I lost him. And I'm like, no, I liked Glenn. Don't kill him. But with the remake, I was like, yeah.
I don't care.
So you died?
Oh, okay.
Kill them all.
Yeah, who's next?
Freddy? Wait, who? I think you should just go after a random guy on the street now. These kids are boring me.
Yeah. Okay, so we heard Breeze and now Jose.
Your favorite?
My favorite horror movie.
Give me any genre, so it doesn't really...
It's because...
Could be.
Godzilla and King Kong are horror movies.
Oh, okay.
So you're going for the monsters.
The creature features.
No. There's a difference between monster and creature.
True.
There is a huge...
I'm not going
Monster from the Black Lagoon, guys.
Because,
Swamp Thing.
I am very troubled when it comes to this question, for I am a huge fan of Evil Dead. I have that movie like 7 times in different formats. I fucking love that movie 4 times. Yeah, I have that movie in DVD, Blu-ray, Laserdisc, tape, whatever. I love that movie. That movie's like... That movie... Remember how I was saying that I was scared to cat? That movie helped me not be afraid. Because it's finally one guy battling the demons and he's winning. And this one guy's goofy and he gets his ass kicked throughout the whole movie. But he still stands tall and wins. He proved to me that you could beat the monsters. So I love Evil Dead. I love King Kong, the original King Kong. I love Gojira.
Thank you. I'm not the only fucking person that pronounces it that way.
Yeah.
I pronounce it both ways.
Yeah, okay. It's because if you say Godzilla, you're talking about the American version of the movie with the American dub and the Steve Martin character. When you say Gojira, you're talking about the Japanese version of the movie without the Steve Martin character, without all the Americanisms. Because from like at its core, even though they're the same movie and they're just dubbed over and they introduced another character to explain to American audiences what was going on, they're 2 whole different movies. So Gojira is better than Godzilla.
I don't care what anybody says. I still like that 1993 version. 1998 version.
Beast of 1,000 Fathoms remake, yeah, or Jurassic Park ripoff you're talking about?
Yes, it's
yeah,
beautiful.
whatever.
Roderick.
Godzilla gets killed by the military, yeah.
Fuckers hate that movie.
That movie's stupid.
Sorry,
He
Sam.
doesn't
like
get killed because there's still babies at the bottom of the Madison Square
Trying to
Garden.
reproduce.
And then they got an animated series that was also a piece of shit. So
Don't you dare talk about Godzilla.
it's a piece of shit. Anyway, going back.
Anyway, so
Going back on topic, I'm trying to I'm struggling with myself right now because I love Texas Chainsaw, I love Alien, I love
why do
Evil
you have to
Dead.
say like your favorite one? Just name a good one you like.
I'm gonna go because I love Halloween 3, and because it has no Michael Myers in it, even though I love Michael Myers. Anyway, I'm gonna go for Evil Dead. Evil Dead is the kind of movie I want to make. Evil Dead is the kind of movie that I want to watch and that I want to make and be like, yeah, I made that with my friends, with my family. Look how successful it was. Evil Dead changed things, and I love Evil Dead.
All right, Josh.
Okay, well, jeez. There's a lot of horror movies that I've seen so far throughout the years. The first one that I remember ever seeing is probably the first Scream movie. I remember that as being the first actual horror movie I was ever allowed to see on my own. Probably do have to agree on Brie with the Nightmare on Elm Street series, but I also do kind of like the Freddy vs. Jason movie. That one was real.
Come on, Jason X. That was the best one.
No, like seriously, dude.
Jason X.
Jason X has like, it's way better than it has any right to be.
Yeah, it does. Wasn't it straight to movie?
It was in the U.S. It had a very limited release, but in other countries it was theatrically released. I saw it in Mexico.
I saw it on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah, me too. They had a whole big Jason marathon, and that's how I watched them all in 1-2 days.
Yeah, me and my dad watched that together. It was amazing.
So I guess.
So you're going with the Freddy franchise too?
Well, it'd either have to be a tie between Freddy on Top versus the Saw franchise.
I actually enjoyed watching Saw. I find Jigsaw as a really unique character. I think it's a good series. I just think they made too many, and then it got boring. And then it's like, look, you're gonna cut their intestines out.
The only one that's worth is the first one, and that's because of like how it impacted the film at the time. But I don't like any of them. But kind of first one. I'm okay with the first one.
And I'm looking at the TV channel AMC, their Fear Fest top 10 horror movies right now, and see, Halloween is at number 1. Friday the 13th. These are series. Friday the 13th is in number 2. Chainsaw Massacre is number 3, Saw's in number 4, and Nightmare on Elm Street is in number 5. So
Saw rank higher than what is the criteria on this list?
hell, I know. Just
like
fan voting, I guess.
Yeah, fuck fans.
Wow.
Jeez, brutal.
So anyway, Eva?
I don't have a particular franchise I like. I will say that I will never, ever, ever watch another Chucky movie ever again.
Scariest part.
There's a personal reason for that.
Based on
Family.
Child's Play is awesome though.
Chucky.
Okay, I did get to
They give you a Chucky doll when you were little?
No. When I was younger.
We used to have one in our barracks.
Yeah. I had my
Chucky with guns.
who was it? My ex's roommate had a Chucky in the back window of his car.
Oh,
So
jeez.
anytime anybody was driving right behind him, they would see the Chucky doll just right there. But no, I am not a big fan of Child's Play. I do believe that it is a franchise that should have stopped at its peak and not have gone with Bride of Chucky. So, because ever since Bride of Chucky, it declined all the way to the bottom of the pit.
I gotta defend it. I gotta defend the franchise because it wasn't after Bride of Chucky. It was after Child's Play 3 because Child's Play 3 is a piece of shit. Child's Play 3 is.
And for those of you who don't know, Child's Play is the official series franchise name. So
Okay, I thought you were talking about like the seed of Chucky.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I don't call it that they call it Chucky. It's Child's Play.
I don't want to murder.
So the thing with Child's Play 3 is that piece of shit. So yeah, it needed to be refreshed and it needed to be different. So
but I will say I did like that movie where who was it? Will Arnett, I think that's his name. Did a videographer for the paranormal. I can't remember what it was. I mean, he was a paranormal investigator, and they were trying to get this family out of the house. And I mean, I guess the spirit clung to the children. I can't remember it off the top of my name.
Something like Death of a Ghost Hunter or.
No, it was very recent. It was
recent.
It was like a spirit in the house kind of movie.
Haunted house.
It's like
Oculus.
from inside the house. I'm not sure. I have no idea what it is.
Is it not Grave Encounters?
Yeah, I don't know, but
good.
if somebody can tell me, just put it on the comments below, and that would be it for me. Sam?
I have 2 favorites actually. Now, I've been watching horror movies ever since I was 4 years old. And my first horror movie was Critters.
Ooh.
And at first my parents were like, "Oh my God, you watch this horror movie by yourself?" And I was like, "Can I watch it again? I don't know how to rewind the videotape." And but that's not my favorite. My top 2 favorites are Alien, all the Alien franchise, and
even Resurrection.
Yes. Because ever since I was 4, me and my mom every Friday we would watch that. I've probably seen every movie over 100 times, hands down. And then Tremors. I liked all Tremors except for the 4th one.
You like Tremors, the TV show?
Yeah,
it was awesome. I love that TV series.
I was so upset that got
good.
canceled. You think that would have stuck around a little bit longer. And, I actually saw Christopher Lloyd at the last Dragon Con, and he was in the Tremors TV series.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say are we gonna talk about how Christopher Lloyd was in Tremors? Or are we gonna talk about how Christopher Lloyd is fucking Doc Brown from Back to the Future?
But anyway, so he was in Tremors. What's funny is that they actually made fun of that fact in Tremors. So in the TV show, he's like a mad scientist, something like that. Okay. He worked on something called where they're mixing genes and stuff like that in the TV show. Splicing. Yeah. Yeah. And so what's funny is that there's this nerd guy who always walks around with a camera and stuff like that. He's trying to make it famous on the internet. And so at the end of one episode, the doc's like, "Oh, let me give you," or he's like, the nerd goes, "Can I give you a ride to the doc? Back to his place." And he's like, and then so he gets in the car and he's like, "Hey, have you guys ever worked on time traveling?" And I was just like, "Yes, that was perfect." So yeah, those are my top 2 favorites. I really do like Aliens 2 better than I like Aliens 1.
No, it's not Alien 1 or Aliens 2. It's Alien and Aliens.
Yeah, but still, I know that. Shut up.
The Alien movie 1 and the
Alien.
But Aliens, right?
But Aliens is an action movie.
The thing is like sometimes like when you say it, you're just kind of like, is that did they say singular or plural? So it's kind of like it's just easier to go Aliens.
Aliens is an action movie though.
I don't fucking care. It's a creature feature.
Oh, because here's the thing: when you have the xenomorph, that it's built up as like this tank that cannot be defeated on the first one, and you just like kill them like mosquitoes in the second one. That kind of takes away a lot from the threat of the first one.
You gotta remember, they didn't have the weapons they do in the first one.
They had a flamethrower.
Oh my god, a whole flamethrower versus bullets?
Versus one alien? Yeah, according to the logic of aliens, you can kill them.
No, the flamethrowers didn't really affect the xenomorphs that much because they're hardened shells. So that's the flamethrowers really didn't affect. The only reason why she used the flamethrowers is because they were a little scared of fire, but because mostly it's like it would, the entire place would go up in flames. The actual alien eggs, which I have a wood carving at my house of, are the ones that are affected by flamethrowers.
Aliens have better.
So it's not really the aliens aren't scared of fire. Well, who's not scared of fire?
Okay.
But
Well, we've got a minute and a half, so let's talk about next week's.
I thought we were gonna go a little longer because we still have one more topic.
You're breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Like, how long has this been? Like an hour already?
Almost an hour. So.
Okay, so yeah.
Are we sure we can go a little longer?
One.
All right, so talked about that. Talked about our favorite movies. So we are running out of time a little bit. So next time we will actually be talking about the rules, the favorite horror movie rules. We're talking maybe about spoofs. Yeah, a little bit. All right, and we might have one or two more extra things in there. So hang in there. Right, so this is it for our podcast day. I'm Josh Williamson. Next to me is Eva Long.
Goodbye.
Next to her is Sam Merrill.
Dicks.
And then Bree.
Yeah.
And then Jose.
Keep looking at the skies. We're not alone.
Never.